let's talk about Hurricane Fiona. Now, for those of you who don't know, I mean, this is a serious subject. Massive floods in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was hit and devastated by Irma. Puerto Rico, even before Irma, already had a crippling infrastructure. It's been absolutely sacked and robbed for a century, okay? And I mean, that's how you know, like, if you ask Americans, they don't even realize that Puerto Ricans are American citizens. For example, that's what happens when you don't have any representation whatsoever. So you're in this limbo, basically a colony still. But when you are in a dire situation and your infrastructure cannot handle any sort of climate change, even before the climate change, your infrastructure is already in a horrible situation. This is what happens.
This morning,
currently, the island does not have any power, from what I understand. And here it is.
The governor of Puerto Rico describes the damage from Hurricane Fiona as catastrophic, with more than 18 hours of torrential rain.
80 to 100-mile winds, a metal bridge breaking.
Rushing water washing away this bridge. Watch as power poles and a guardrail connected to the bridge are ripped from the ground. The water pulling everything connected to the structure downstream. Police say the National Guard installed the bridge after Hurricane Maria slammed Puerto Rico in 2017, killing nearly 3,000 people and leaving millions without food and basic needs. The storm response then was widely criticized. Months later, 1,000 pallets of water bottles sent by FEMA for storm victims was found undelivered, left sitting in the sun at this former naval base, leaving...
Remember in 2017, this is what happened. The famous Trump, basketball fucking free throw shooting, the fucking toilet paper at the Puerto Rican people.
People asking, will the response to this storm be any better?
Still so fresh in everyone's minds here. It's got to be, another punch.
But that's why people are very responsive and they cooperate, because they remember, they still remember Maria.
Fiona is expected to dump up to 2 feet of rain, triggering widespread flooding and mudslides. High winds ripping the roof off this building, tearing it to shreds. This man says he was sleeping when the winds tore the roof off his house. The company operating Puerto Rico's fragile power grid says the 85-mile-per-hour winds disrupted transmission lines, leaving 1.5 million customers without electricity.
What is your biggest concern right now for Puerto Rico?
I don't want any loss of life here. Once that's taken care of, then restoring the electric service.
Puerto Rico's governor says fully restoring power could take several days.
Here's some more recent coverage.
Hurricane Fiona roared ashore, dumping as much as 25 inches of rain, driving up winds to 91 miles per hour, all along Puerto Rico's southern coast. There were moments like this, neighbors with a boat, some rope, and a desperate will to save a family trapped in high water. There has been catastrophic flooding and mudslides, down trees and power lines. Brown floodwater flowed in all directions, seemingly swallowing everything in its path. In Utuado, in the center of the island, this new metal bridge, built just 4 years ago after Hurricane Maria, was swept away like a twig. Nearly the entire island is in the dark. Some 1.3 million people are still without power. Almost 840,000 have no running water.
We got in a helicopter and we first flew over Toa Baja. You could see people standing on cars and on the second story of their homes. And then we headed all the way west to the municipality of Añasco.
That's where, above the water and out of danger, Norma Rivera grew up and is determined to stay.
People say climate change isn't real. Yeah, it's not to rich people. It's not the people in fucking mainland parts of the United States, which do suffer from anthropogenic climate change's worst consequences, but get significantly better and more adequate help from the federal government. The richer you are, the less impacted you are by some of the most immediate consequences of climate change. The poorer you are, and Puerto Rico is a perfect example of this, the harder it is for you to deal with it, you know? And here it is, a recurring reminder about who's behind Puerto Rico's energy privatization, FOMBPR. A matter of life and death thanks to the corrupt U.S. Congress and donors, plus the Obama-Biden administration, not just about paper towels. 3 months before Hurricane Maria, they privatized Puerto Rico's power, and there's a Wall Street Journal opinion piece on it. It would reduce the cost of living and spur economic growth. They were appointed by President Obama, Based on the recommendations by the Democrat and Republican congressional leadership, the board FOMBPR rejected the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority's request to move forward with a restructuring support agreement with its creditors. The board concluded that lowering the price of electricity and spurring economic growth depended on reforming PREPA's operations, not merely reconstructing its credit. Tax evaders left Puerto Rico to their original homes to avoid Hurricane Fiona.
A lot of my friends who are down here as well for tax purposes, they bounced. They're back at their second homes. They're gone.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is my problem. This is a topic I've been very quiet about for a long time, but this video was the confirmation.
Oh, yeah, here. I'm a meteorologist. The worst part of this is that it's not even a particularly strong hurricane. They're not even prepared for a typical hurricane, let alone a supercharged one from climate change.
I needed to hear. Folks will come here to live in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico is treated like a fucking, tourism destination by so many Americans.
Live la vida loca and live for their wallet's best interest. In times like these, right now, during a hurricane, they leave. And then they wonder why a lot of people give them shit for it. Because they are living here for their own benefit. And when times are not beneficial to them, they fly like a flock of pigeons. I live here. I love here. Because I am here. Everybody wants to live in Puerto Rico until it's time to live in Puerto Rico. For those who are living here with tax purposes, and you took a quick flight back home, don't get mad when you hear, go home. Stay home.
Puerto Rico has a 3 million population. At what point do you abandon the island and move them to the U.S.? Seems like such a small number of people to absorb. I mean, dude, there's plenty of people who don't want to leave, though. That's another thing. Like, you can't just relocate every Puerto Rican person and fucking forcibly put them in, like, Florida. You know what I mean? That's their home. Even if you had enough money. Watch the El Apagón video by Bunny.
Están desplazando al boricua nativo de aquí.
Ajá. Con la famosita carta de los 30 días y toma y te tienes que ir.
¿Y ahora para dónde cojo? Y si lo que me cobran allí donde yo puedo no me va a dar con lo que yo me gano.
Lo que pasa es que lo que hay es unos grandes intereses allí.
Y está pasando en Puerto Rico completo.
Y vamos a ser extranjeros en nuestra propia patria.
Tenemos que movernos, dama, porque cuando los de abajo se mueven, los de arriba se caen.
Esto es Puerto Rico, pero la vida aquí no es igual para todos. Están quienes llegan con ventajas y beneficios. Y están quienes llevan aquí toda una vida y ahora sienten que les quieren sacar y quitarles lo que les pertenece. Pero también están quienes crearon estas condiciones y quienes tienen el poder para cambiarlas.
Esa me la dejaron enganchada en la puerta. Te deben desalojar y entregar la posición de las instalaciones dentro de 30 días. Gracias por el tiempo y le deseamos lo mejor.
Maricusa llegó a Puerto Rico de su natal República Dominicana en los 90. Lleva casi 26 años alquilando un apartamento en este edificio en Santurce. Pero en mayo le dieron una carta avisándole que se tenía que ir, porque el edificio tenía nuevo dueño.
Al menos yo lo que estaba pagando no era suficiente para yo cubrir el que yo estar aquí. Lo estaba haciendo perder dinero. Si pago 600 pesos, aparece un loco que da 2.500. Y él dijo que esto se iba a alquilar a 2.500.
El ingreso medio de un hogar en Puerto Rico es menos de $1,800 al mes.
Entonces están desplazando al boricua para hacerse ellos ricos a través de lo de aquí, de lo nativo de aquí.
Gentrification is happening in Puerto Rico.
Los residenciales públicos son el corazón de Puerta de Tierra. Si nos sacan, muere Puerta de Tierra. Si sacan los residenciales públicos, muere Puerta de Tierra. Yo viví ahí 54 años, viví en esa esquina. Mira lo que hay ahora. Un edificio, un caserío nuevo para riquitos, donde yo nací, donde yo no puedo entrar. Porque como somos negros y pobres, pues están abusando de nosotros, ¿sabes?
En Puerto Rico hay una ley que le permite a los extranjeros no pagar ciertos impuestos cuando se mudan aquí. Se llama la Ley 22, que ahora es parte de la Ley 60. Y gracias a esta ley, cuando una persona se muda a Puerto Rico, no paga nada de impuestos por las ganancias de sus inversiones en cosas como acciones, criptomonedas y bienes raíces.
I'm moving to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. It's like the only place you can live with 0% capital gains.
El nuevo dueño del edificio de la ferretería es un beneficiario de la Ley 22. Chaim Mayor Hassan ha comprado 15 propiedades en Puerta de Tierra, pero él no ha sido el único. Desde el 2018, 8 beneficiarios de la Ley 22 han comprado por lo menos 28 propiedades en el barrio.
Bueno, yo le digo invasores colonizadores porque ellos se comportan como tal.
Bro, but this is not the old school era of doing, brutal colonial occupation. This is the kinder, gentler colonial occupation, one done within the framework of capitalism, right? So it's okay. It's adequate. It's appropriate. You know what I mean? It's just the cost of doing business. And that is always how it will be sold. How do you begin to address these issues? Seems to be something perpetuated by the government, not just Democrat or Republican. Absolutely. You're fucking figuring it out, my friend. This shit happened under the Obama administration. It happened under the Trump administration, and it will continue to happen under the Biden administration as well. This is a battle between the rich and the poor, okay? Because there's rich Puerto Ricans who are playing a role in this as well, okay? This is a matter of poor people getting fucked over by rich people, and this is a matter of the American government operating at the behest of the rich, regardless, okay?
Ahora esta escuela será un edificio de apartamentos con vista al mar.
A finales de las clases se veían las ballenas que salían a parir. Los maestros nos llevaban a ver ese espectáculo.
Algunos académicos comparan la economía del turismo con la economía de plantación. Que los Estados Unidos invadiera y tomara posesión de Puerto Rico a finales del siglo XIX permitía a las compañías azucareras estadounidenses apoderarse de la tierra. Contrataban a puertorriqueños como sus empleados y les pagaban salarios bajos que los mantenían en la pobreza.
Nearly identical. Well, I mean, but to say, you know, Cuba was another one. Sugar slavery, it has been the leading colonizing force in America's backyard.
Rafael Tatito Hernández es uno de los políticos puertorriqueños que ha recibido donativos de beneficiarios de la Ley 22. En los últimos 3 años, los beneficiarios han donado más de $240,000 a las campañas políticas del gobernador y los líderes de la legislatura de Puerto Rico.
This is what I was saying. There's a lot of fucking corruption in Puerto Rican government too.
Dorado Beach es donde han comprado o alquilado casas figuras famosas como Logan Paul y Brock Pierce, quienes se mudaron a Puerto Rico por los incentivos.
I mean, this is a little bit like the Andrew Tate shit, right? Like, you remember how Andrew Tate was like, oh yeah, you can go to Romania and everything is cheaper and like you can just be like kind of your own king in your own land, right? A lot of rich people, well, not even like super rich people, a lot of super rich people will go to places like Puerto Rico and Mexico and buy out entire fucking city blocks. You can't do that in America in order to gentrify it, right? But a lot of like mid-level rich people will also basically do that. They'll go and become like little landlords, tiny landlords basically. But the worst part about that always is that the people are getting fucked over. And of course that the American government completely is on board with this happening. I mean, Hawaii was like that. And now Hawaii is really fucking expensive. And you know what the indigenous population of Hawaii looks like. You know what Hawaii's like natural ecosystem looks like. And Hawaii also has statehood. Puerto Rico, on the other hand, does not have those same amenities even. So it's currently getting the worst end of the stick from all ends.
Invadiendo el hábitat de tortuga. Estoy llorando ante los ojos de Dios, corillo.
Yeah, they ruined the... Remember like Logan Paul? There was like Logan Paul drama because he was like driving his fucking car on the beach or something, like driving his four-wheeler on the beach. You know what I mean? Or Jake Paul, not Logan Paul. Sorry.
Los manifestantes impidieron que continuara la...
And of course, the armed thugs, the jackbooted thugs of the government come in and bust the heads of those who are protesting the people destroying the ecosystems. Yeah. Motherfucker says, you want more government. Yes, bro, I do. Like, I want good government, okay? That's what I want. Less government is not helping these people. As a matter of fact, it's like literally less government that is destroyed Puerto Rico. It's all the fucking dumbass ANCAPs going there and being like, oh man, no capital gains tax, baby. That's great. Let's go there. I want good government. Dummy. They protested the private energy company that hiked prices 7 times. Remember, affordable prices. People in Puerto Rico taking to the streets again to protest against the company that the U.S. government imposed over Puerto Rico to privatize electricity. Not only they have power outages increased significantly, but customers have seen 7 price hikes since 2021. This happened a couple months back. Fucking awesome, dude. And also, the entire power grid is in a fucking state of disrepair. It's great. But it doesn't matter because rich people can just fucking fly away. Here's an overview. That's bananas, dude. I mean, look at how fucked up this shit is. Bro, Puerto Rico, not dissimilar to some of the poorer parts of NOLA, okay? You go to New Orleans and you still see the devastating impact of Hurricane Katrina. You have fucking houses that are still not repaired from Hurricane fucking Katrina, bro, okay? To this day. And the same shit is happening in Puerto Rico as well. There's still places that just have not been repaired since Maria. How insane is that? I mean, it's almost been 20 years since fucking Katrina happened, man. But of course, because these are some of the poorest people, it just doesn't matter. Anyway, like I said, I'll be looking at charities to work with, okay? And definitely not Red Cross nor the government. Do not worry, okay? I know, and we'll figure something out.